Here's the play!
Dateline, Tucson, Arizona. The headline, catch or no catch. Hello, football fans. Ryan here. This article here details the play you just witnessed. It also mentions several times the receiver who made the catch has committed to the University of Washington. The player is going to be a Husky. I couldn't tell, however, if the article was just proud of the receiver's future or if they thought the receiver's collegiate recruitment had something to do with this being ruled a catch. Now, before we break down this play, let's go to the NFHS rulebook. A catch is the act of establishing player possession of a live ball, which is in flight, and first contacting the ground inbounds while maintaining possession of the ball. Now, let's read the rulebook's definition of possession. A ball in player possession is a live ball held or controlled by a player after it has been caught. So, the NFHS's definition of a catch is pretty ambiguous, just like my pickleball skills. Even with a low threshold for a completed pass, and even when one considers how video of high school football is never definitive, it's still kind of hard to make this a catch. Now, I'm not a back judge, but I can't help wondering if the official being all turned around hindered his ability to see the catch attempt. This is a reminder to be aware of our positioning. Also, and I'm guessing here, there appears to have been a few signs the official rushed his call. Even if I'm wrong, it's never a bad time for officials to be reminded to slow down. Take a beat and process what you saw and then make your call. After all, the number one enemy of good officiating is hurrying. Well, that and chafing, but that's for another video. You probably saw this in the background. Now that's a reaction. Before this wing official outwardly showed his disbelief of the back judge's call, he signaled incomplete. I'd say his incomplete signal and his reaction are more problematic than the actual ruling. I don't know Arizona's mechanics, but in my state, this call is solely the back judge's call. So there was no need for the wing to signal. If the wing had information the pass was incomplete, he should have said something. Sure, the wing official was further away than his partner was, but he may have had a better angle. This is a reminder to speak up if you have an incomplete pass. All I can say about this play is I hope this future Husky doesn't get these types of calls when he plays the Washington State Cougars. Indiana, sure. Penn State, definitely. But not against the Cougs. Dateline, Mission Viejo, California. The headline, Mission Viejo beats Basha with help from controversial fumble call. For what it's worth, the offense did not score on the drive, but they did go on to win 31-28. I don't think the call was controversial. I think this was an inadvertent whistle. You can hear a whistle while the ball is loose, and the official, the one we assume made the call, comes into the camera shot and taps his chest. I think this was the official accepting responsibility for the IW. Going back to the rule book, this time Rule 4.2.3b, the team in last possession may choose to either put the ball in play where possession was lost or replay the down if an inadvertent whistle is sounded while the ball is loose following a fumble. I'm sure the crew signaled there was an inadvertent whistle, and I'm sure they spotted the ball where the fumble was lost. So, to the intrepid reporter, it may have looked like the runner was ruled down by contact, when in fact, it was an inadvertent whistle. I think that's a much better description of what happened than labeling the call controversial. This isn't an existential crisis. It's not the end of football. It's just a mistake. All officials make them. All officials have inadvertent whistles. I know I've had my share. Officials don't ever want to make mistakes. We do our best to avoid them. That's why we watch all these videos, but it unfortunately happens. And that's assuming the official is a veteran. It's very likely the official is inexperienced, meaning it's even more understandable a mistake was made. Newer officials are still learning the game, so don't be too hard on this official or any other official who may have made a mistake. Officiating is hard, and I know this because I make officiating look very, very hard. I say this official might be new, not because they had an IW, but because there are a lot of new officials working nowadays. If you Google high school football, you'll see a bunch of news stories concerning the nationwide shortage of high school football officials, meaning some officials are working varsity games in their first or second year. If you don't believe me, you are more than welcome to check my internet search history. Wait, don't do that. Forget I said anything. My computer is broken. There are millions of officials.
All right, here we are. They are a chip shot away from the win. Right now, the ball sits on the 7-yard line. We need a fumble here, a bad snap, or a blocked field goal when they go for a field goal, unless they get it in the end zone right here.
There's a 10-second runoff for a penalty, so there's 29 seconds left. That may work against the Buckeyes, actually, Jeff, because if they put it in the end zone, then the Buckeyes aren't going to get the ball back.
All right, handoff up the middle, number 8. Down inside the 5-yard line.
Lay on them. They can't stop the clock.
They got to try to get up and get set. The clock is running 10 seconds. Their guy.
The game's over. The game is over.
Yeah,
if
6 seconds.
If they have an injury, that's the game over. That is game over. That's a 10-second runoff. That is game over, Jeff. That is game over. The game is over.
Yeah, they had a guy go
an
down
injury
and stop
timeout.
the clock.
That is a 10-second runoff. The game is over. The game is over. The game is over.
Yeah, they're lining up for the
coaches
kick.
cannot come on the field. That is the ball game is over. The ball game is over.
Well,
It's a 10-second
runoff,
Jeff. That is the ball game is over. No, a penalty. The ball game is over.
It's not, evidently. They're going to let them kick it.
The ball game is over. That is an injury timeout. The ball game is over.
Well, our coaches are not even calling for that, so let's see what's going on here. This happened last year. You realize the last... Yes!
The ball game is over.
That's it.
I told you. The
Good
ball
call,
game is
Todd.
over.
Good call.
Buckeyes win.
Dateline, Gilmer, Texas. Headline, crazy controversial ending of this Texas high school football game. We usually don't look at plays from Texas because they don't use NFHS rules. And I am medically unable to spell the word Texas. Words with the letter Q are so confusing. Nonetheless, I think this play will be helpful for all high school football officials, regardless of where they work. This was a cracker of a game. 3 touchdowns were scored in the final 3 minutes. Then, with 29 seconds left, the offense ran the ball up the middle. The first question is, did the defender delay in getting off the ball carrier, and should a delay of game foul been called? I guess that's 2 questions. Sorry. I think it's a borderline delay of game, therefore I'd say no on a foul. Now in Texas, at the end of each half, if there's an injury timeout, there's also a 10-second runoff, unless you call a timeout. At this point in the game, the offense was out of timeouts. In the NFHS rulebook, there are no 10-second runoffs. For anything, we never run seconds off. I wouldn't mind a 10-second runoff, but I would much rather have a 10-minute runoff. Hey-o! Under NFHS rules, when an official sees an injured player on the field, the official stops the clock, if necessary, and calls an injury timeout. Once the player is off the field, the player has to be replaced for at least 1 play. Officials restart the clock if it was running before. This occurs regardless of how many timeouts the team has. The NFHS rulebook, though, may want to consider adding a 10-second runoff, as well as some pictures, graphics, and charts. Anything to spice the book up a bit. Before the sequence you just watched, a player on the offense went down with an injury. And yes, there was a 10-second runoff. In this situation, stopping the clock was more important than the 10 seconds. The reporter noted that some fans thought the player was faking an injury. Under NFHS rules, I guess an official could throw an unfair act foul or a delay of game foul if a player fakes an injury just to stop the clock. But there would have to be extraordinary, near otherworldly circumstances for that to happen. High school football players are kids. They say they're hurt, they're hurt. In the Reading Study Guide to NFHS football rules, there's an example of an offensive player faking an injury and receiving an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. In this example, however, the player was deceiving the defense and thinking his injury affected his ability to run fast. It was not to stop the clock at the end of the game. Bottom line, if you are out of timeouts and you want to fake an injury to stop the clock, don't do it in Texas. There was also a question about when the player was actually injured and therefore when the 10-second runoff should have been started. The reporter said the injury timeout should have gone down with 12 seconds left, meaning there would have been 2 seconds left after the 10-second runoff. I get that, but that's not how it works, at least outside of Texas. When I first watched the play, I looked at the clock right when I realized there was an injury on the field and there were 9 seconds left. Meaning I can totally see calling an injury timeout with less than 10 seconds left in the game. Yes, we want to be quick to stop the game, but it's not instantaneous that a player gets hurt and an injury timeout is called. I mean, how can anyone, apart from the hurt player, know the exact moment when an injury occurred? What do you think? What do you think about these headline-grabbing plays? Please let us know in the comments section below. We have the best commenters in the business, so please join the discussion, share your wisdom, insights, and experiences. I hope you've enjoyed the 3 plays featured in this video. I'm going to leave you with a 4th. Now, the video quality of this 4th play isn't great, but I think you'll gladly endure the low fidelity to experience the world's shortest punt return for a touchdown.
If you're already a high school football official, have a great season. If you're not a high school football official, now is a perfect time to become one. Contact the Evergreen Football's Officials Association and we'll help you make it happen. Until next time, we're the EFOA, making good officials better.